Welcome to Cathy's Eclectic Garden. Today I'm going to show you 4 flowers that you can grow in your garden that have multiple uses. Borrego officinalis, common name borage, is a hardy annual herb known for its vibrant star-shaped blue flowers and fuzzy oval-shaped leaves. Native to the Mediterranean region, borage is prized for its culinary, medicinal, and ornamental uses. The plant can grow up to 2 to 3 feet tall and has a bushy form. Its flowers attract pollinators, such as bees and butterflies. There are several benefits of growing borage. It improves soil by adding trace minerals and can be used as a green manure. Borage helps deter tomato hornworms and cabbage worms. I learned this while researching for this video and will be planting borage near my cabbages and tomatoes this year. If you plan to grow borage, choose the right location. Borage prefers full sun but can tolerate partial shade and prefers well-draining soil. Direct sow seeds outdoors after the last frost date in spring. Plant seeds about 1/4 to a 1/2 inch deep and 12 inches apart. I sometimes start borage indoors about 4 to 6 weeks before my average last frost date. Transplant outdoors after danger of frost is past. Borage will self-seed readily, so thin seedlings if overcrowded. Keep the soil moist but not soggy until the seedlings establish. Once established, borage is fairly drought tolerant. Mature borage plants can spread widely, allow ample space to prevent crowding. Remove spent flowers to encourage more blooms. Borage may flop over as it gets taller. Staking can help to keep the plants upright. Borage is generally pest resistant, but watch for powdery mildew in humid conditions. Borage can be grown in USDA's hardiness zones 2 through 11. It is an annual plant but will reseed itself in most climates, returning year after year if allowed. In USDA zones 2 through 4, borage is an annual and may reseed. In USDA zones 5 through 7, it is also an annual and will reseed vigorously. In USDA zones 8 through 11, borage can be planted in spring or fall and may grow year-round. Tagetes, commonly called marigolds, are a popular group of flowering plants known for their vibrant colors, resilience, and versatility in gardens and landscapes. They bring a ray of sunshine to your garden and attract bees, butterflies, ladybugs, and other pollinators. They belong to the genus Tagetes and are native in North America and South America, but have become widely cultivated across the world. Their bright flowers are popular in bouquets, garlands, and festive decorations. Marigolds are typically characterized by their bright, cheerful flowers that come in shades of yellow, orange, gold, and red. The blooms are often round and full, with petals arranged in layers that can resemble pom-poms or daisies. Flowers can be small and single or large and double, with some varieties producing blooms up to 5 inches across. Marigolds can range in height from 6 inches to 3 feet, depending on the species and variety. The leaves are usually green, pinnate, fern-like, and deeply cut, giving a lacy appearance to the foliage, and have a slightly aromatic scent when crushed. Marigolds thrive in full sun and well-drained soil. They are known for their drought tolerance and ability to bloom continuously through summer and fall. Water regularly, but avoid overwatering. Marigolds are easy to grow from seeds and germinate within a few days and bloom in about 8 weeks. This makes them a favorite first-time gardening project for kids and new gardeners. Marigolds require little maintenance beyond deadheading spent blooms to encourage continuous flowering. They are generally resistant to most diseases but can occasionally suffer from powdery mildew or root rot if overwatered. Pests such as leaf miners or spider mites may also be a problem. Marigolds naturally repel many insect pests, making them excellent companion plants for vegetables. They are especially useful in combating whiteflies, nematodes, and slugs and snails. French marigolds are great at repelling root knot, nematodes, and whiteflies. If you plant from seed, you will need to plant the marigold seeds when you plant your vegetables. I start marigolds indoors and transplant them when I plant my tomatoes, peppers, cabbage, and summer squash. Now we're going to plant some vegetables and some flowers that like tomatoes. They're called companion planting. Peppers like tomatoes and onions like tomatoes. And tomatoes really like marigolds. Now you think, why would a tomato like a marigold? Well, marigolds keep the bad bugs away. So we're going to plant a couple of marigolds over here on this side of the pot. I'll put one right there. And we're going to stick one right here. Sometimes pest control is not about repelling the pests, but rather drawing the pests away from your vegetables. This is when marigolds become trap plants. If you take a flashlight out after dark, you can remove slugs and snails from your plants. I've not experienced any slug or snail damage in my garden, so I don't know if this works or not. Lobularia maritima, commonly called sweet alyssum, is a charming and versatile flowering annual known for its delicate clusters of tiny blooms and a sweet, honey-like fragrance. This plant is popular in gardens, containers, hanging baskets, and as a ground cover due to its prolific and continuous blooming throughout the growing season. I use sweet alyssum just about anywhere in my garden. Sweet alyssum is a low-growing plant typically reaching heights of 4 to 8 inches and spreading 10 to 12 inches wide. It produces masses of small, 4-petal flowers that come in shades of white, pink, lavender, and purple. The foliage is fine gray-green and forms a soft mat. To me, sweet alyssum is an iffy companion plant as recommended by some sources. This plant both attracts bees but also attracts large numbers of leaf beetles, a medium number of lygus bugs, and smaller numbers of leafhoppers, aphids, and froghoppers. I grew some sweet alyssum in a plant tower placed about 12 feet away from my scarlet runner bean. I did notice some bees along with a few other insects on the alyssum, but no aphids. Sweet alyssum is hardy in USDA hardiness zones 7 to 11 as a tender perennial, but is most commonly grown as an annual in all zones. In colder climates like zones 2 through 6, it is planted after the last frost and blooms until the first hard freeze. Sweet alyssum prefers full sun but can tolerate partial shade, especially in hotter climates. Select a site with well-draining soil. Sow seeds directly outdoors after the danger of frost has passed. Scatter seeds on the soil surface and lightly press them in. Don't cover them with soil as they need light to germinate. Personally, I prefer to buy plants at our local nursery. I've tried to start indoors a few weeks before our average last frost, but haven't had very good results. You really have to be on top of watering during germination or they dry out and die. Space seedlings 6 to 8 inches apart to allow for spreading and airflow. Keep the soil evenly moist during germination and until established. Established plants are somewhat drought tolerant but benefit from regular watering in dry periods. Overwatering can lead to root rot. Trim faded blooms to encourage renewed flowering and a tidy appearance. It pairs well with other annuals, vegetables, and herbs, serving as a living mulch and attracting beneficial insects. Zinnias are cheerful, easy-to-grow annual flowers beloved by gardeners for their bright colors, varied forms, and long-lasting blooms. Native to Mexico and the southwestern United States, zinnias thrive in warm climates and attract butterflies and pollinators, making them a favorite in summer gardens across the country. Zinnias belong to the Asteraceae family and come in a wide range of colors, including red, orange, yellow, pink, white, and purple. Their blooms can be single, semi-double, or fully double, resembling daisies, dahlias, or even pom-poms, depending on the variety. The plants range in height from compact 6-inch varieties to tall 4-foot cultivars. Zinnia leaves are typically lance-shaped and slightly rough to the touch, arranged opposite each other along sturdy stems. The flowers are known for their resilience and ability to bloom continuously from early summer until the first frost. Zinnias are best grown as annuals in USDA's hardiness zones 2 through 11. They are sensitive to frost, so they thrive in areas with warm, frost-free summers. In northern zones, they are planted after the last spring frost, while in subtropical and tropical zones, they can be grown nearly year-round. Choose a sunny spot for your zinnias as they require full sun, meaning at least 6 hours of direct sunlight per day. Zinnia seeds can be sown directly into the garden after the danger of frost has passed. Plant seeds a 1/4 inch deep and space them 6 to 18 inches apart, depending on the mature size of the variety. For an earlier start, seeds can be started indoors 4 to 6 weeks before the last expected frost date, then transplanted outdoors when temperatures are consistently warm. I sow zinnias directly in ground, start some indoors early, and buy some from the nursery. Keep the soil consistently moist during germination. Once established, water at the base of the plants to avoid wetting the foliage, which can lead to fungal diseases. Allow the soil to dry out between waterings to prevent root rot. Zinnias are not heavy feeders. A balanced all-purpose fertilizer applied at planting is usually sufficient. Over-fertilizing can lead to excessive foliage and fewer blooms. Thin seedlings to prevent overcrowding, which encourages good air circulation and reduces disease risk. Remove spent flowers regularly to promote continuous blooming throughout the season. Incorporate different varieties in a mixed border for a mixture of heights and colors. Use smaller dwarf varieties in window boxes, along edging, and in containers. Plant near patios and walkways to enjoy the butterflies and hummingbirds that will visit. Sow seeds in 2 to 3 week increments for blooming flowers spring through fall. Long, strong stems make them perfect for cut flower arrangements. Cut the stems at an angle above a bud joint and strip the stems of any foliage before placing in water. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully it will help you decide which flowers you want in your 2026 garden that will add color, attract pollinators, and provide pest control. See you in the next video. Goodbye.